was. Before I even got on camera, I spilled all of that on myself.
Oh
my god. What do you like about being covered in food?
Coming from the kitchen, it looks like I've been working hard. So, right, that's good.
Stains.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. This is all the stuff we didn't get to eat.
Well, unless you want to turn it into a special episode.
We put that behind a paywall.
100%, just for fans.
Yes, we'll put it on the OnlyFans.
The bar is really high here.
That's it.
The bar is really high. People can come out and see a heavy band any night of the week. Somebody on Friday had their Apple Watch.
Yeah, it said that we were a similar volume to My Bloody Ballentyne at the Hydro. It's quite extreme.
But in the blender, yeah, like
I'm just such a fan of Mark's cooking. He's just kind of a wizard.
Oh my god, that looks harrowing.
Glasgow is globally absolutely renowned. People are organising themselves in cool and ethical ways. Gave us delicious food, and now they want to know things.
I felt like somebody was like pushing on your throat frequency coming off the stage. It was very like unsettling, but it's quite nice.
Comforting.
Oh, well, we'll see how much of this we can
Our
use.
tangent, I think I closed the set with.
Oh my god.
It's happening.
It's happening.
I can't believe we're here.
OMO is coming. We're going to interview them. What are you most excited about?
Just to talk about their music, really. It's I've never heard anything like it before. It's so sludgy. It's so apocalyptic. It's so dark. It's so heavy. It's so noisy.
Yeah, noisy bastards. Isn't that what they say on Bandcamp?
And on Instagram too.
I love
Yeah.
that.
I mean, what a label.
Yeah.
I love it.
I really think you have to, like, it's kind of like physical and like ritualistic.
I was gonna say, yeah. It's a very physical, visceral experience.
Yeah,
so
visceral's good.
Yeah, you kind of have to be there to like see it and experience it fully.
Good thing we're filming the gig then, huh?
Well, good thing we're filming the gig, eh?
All right, I think they should be here by now, so I'm gonna go check outside.
Hell yeah, check on them and I'll crack on with cooking.
Okay, thank you, chef.
Alright. Hello.
Hi.
You got some fresh bread for us?
Oh, wonderful.
Please enjoy our rosemary and sea salt focaccia.
Amazing, thank
We'll let
you.
cook up the rest.
Fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you, chef. Is this? I forget what we gave you on Friday. Did you get it? You got some of our.
I had some focaccia,
right? Yeah.
which I loved, and my husband approved.
Excellent. Yes, always good to have
had
a Italian on board.
I had the leek stew, which was gorgeous, and I think went for the sausage
Sausage and caramelized onion zapiekanka.
zapakanka.
Delicious.
And vegan.
Really? Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Is
100%.
it all vegan? Nice. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, 100% plant-based. But
Oh, I guess the name's in there.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I think it's fun. Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys, like, if you had to make the case that your industry plants, like if you had to prove that your industry plants, could you do it? Like, do you have anything?
In AI, it's very, very topical just now, isn't it?
It really is.
Everyone's sniffing around looking for where the man is trying to get in. No, we're too weird. I don't think they could create us in the laboratory, particularly.
Definitely not. No.
But it's a great name. The company's got a great name, and we were talking on Friday as well about, in terms of having a plant-based approach, it really just fits with the history of Glasgow and where it's come from.
Can you tell me more about that? Tell me, as I obviously am an immigrant here, I don't know a lot about the history of Glasgow.
But you've been here for 6 weeks, so you're Glaswegian.
I'll take it.
That's how we roll. Well, I mean, it goes back. So Green City a big distributor in town.
Yes,
They've been a
yes.
workers' co-op in Glasgow since 1978.
Yeah, we're actually hoping to work with them too. We're starting our co-op, getting it started, and I think they're going to be our advisors, which I'm
Yeah.
super excited for. 'Cause
Well, they've got a long history, but I mean, also it was a long history as well of like punk friends that, you know, really didn't want to do any kind of other work, but they ended up kind of working and end up founding their own businesses as part of that as well. But now there's like a whole web in Glasgow, and a real switch on to plant-based approaches and ethics. That was all founded by hunt saboteurs.
Really?
So a lot of the punks, I mean, I knew a lot of the Paisley punks, and they would go out sabbing every weekend. They'd be up at 6 in the morning. They'd go out hunt sabbing, and you know that's like disrupting. It's disrupting the fox hunting. So a lot of the punks, particularly post the kind of suppose the kind of peace punk scene.
Okay. What what decade are we talking here?
80s. I think that's part of it, and for me it's balancing the kind of, you know, ethics and health. So I think that can be quite difficult sometimes with a plant-based menu as well. If you've got people, you know, that are also, you know, trying to cut down on carbs, trying to cut down on you know, not just replacing the protein, but trying to cut down on fat and oils and stuff. So there's quite a lot of chemistry to it, but Glasgow's got a really strong history of that.
Yeah.
And now it almost kind of feels like it's just the norm.
I'm not vegan myself, but I'm just such a fan, honestly, of Mark's cooking. He's never made me anything that I've cared that it's vegan, right? And he's so good at, I mean, even on our menu we've got labna on there, we've got homemade mozzarella, like he veganized nokedli for this today, which is supposed to be like egg noodles, and he'd never done it before yesterday, and it's great. Like, so I don't know, he's just kind of a wizard in the kitchen, and I just sit back and eat up the magic. So I'm really excited today. I know you said you love mushrooms, right?
Oh,
You're
of all varieties.
excellent.
So, where's my pen? Bloop. Right. Yes, sir. Woo! Got it in, got it out. All right. Onions, garlic. Oh. Boom, boom, boom. Mushrooms are stewing. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like glad that nobody died. Like, yeah, every variety of mushrooms that you've ever.
Did somebody say mushroom?
Good timing.
I'll just lift that up.
Got us. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Sometimes it's
Oh,
beautiful,
that
and
looks great.
sometimes it's ugly.
Oh,
And
what is that?
Are we ready to scran?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Are we
Yes.
hungry? Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
Always.
I heard you love mushrooms, so we prepared a mushroom stew for you, which we like to call mushroom paprikás, which refers to the copious amount of paprika that's in it.
Okay.
Hungarian paprika. So
Specifically
Hungarian paprika. So if you're tasting something you never tasted before, that's what that is. So who would like to get first?
Go for it.
There you go.
Thank
How
you.
hungry are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty hungry.
Yes, yeah. That's what
That's what we like to hear, yeah. I'm so
Thank you.
I had well, firstly, fuck Orban, and secondly, I had a couple of great experiences in Budapest. What a beautiful, beautiful city.
full of history.
Incredible. The Parliament's gorgeous. You know, the baths, of course. You go on a Friday night and everyone just goes to these baths, and it's still that kind of like,
Thank
you
you
know,
so much.
There you
comrade
go.
culture, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, the baths are amazing and they're just so relaxing as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to some that are kind of like sanitariums almost, and then
Yes.
others that are like proper old ruins. So it's great, but they, you know, what a history as well. Obviously, the House of Terror is there, and they also have a fucking love of weird jazz. And it's like I mean, so when I saw that, in the menu, that's when I messaged you. I saw it in the menu, and you'd said as well. You're like, I want to get some Hungarian scran.
It's rare, right? Thank you so much.
You're very well. Well, I wanted you to be included as well.
Thank you.
I didn't want to leave you
I
out.
also wanted to be.
So rude
I
of
wanted
me.
to include myself.
No, of course.
Yeah, and it's so rare. We always talk like there aren't that many Hungarians total, so you
Yeah.
get one to like cook for you, or just know.
Yeah.
Just rope one in.
It's quite a privilege.
I mean, Hungarian cuisine is very hearty, I would say, so it's perfect for this time of the year.
Yeah, perfect for feeling.
I mean, I have a Hungarian friend who immediately when I posted that on Instagram was like, "What?" You know, she's down in Manchester, but she was like straight on it.
Tuck
I'm getting in
in.
the way of.
Enjoy.
Tuck
I'm
in.
sorry. I'm
Please enjoy.
always distracted by food.
Yeah, it's just that I started making stroganoff myself recently because it's really simple, and yeah, it's so hearty and kind of, I don't know, earthy.
It is. I would say this if I would have to compare it to anything, maybe that's what I would compare it to. It is kind of like a mushroom stroganoff, but with its own kind of spices and its own techniques.
There's a complexity to the paprika. It does taste quite different.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's so unique. So I would say without it, it's just not the same. I think you need that sweetness, smokiness in there.
We were both out of it and had to rush it in together because we really wanted.
We had the special order.
Once you said
I
you
wasn't
wanted-
gonna make it without it.
Right.
That's because there's no point. It's either with it or you do something else. You know, I'm not gonna do it
And
half-assed.
standards.
Well, you have to for a band of your caliber. You know, you have to like at least try and match it. You know, so.
A bunch of reprobates that have done 6 gigs.
That's delicious.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous. And
Oh well, thank you.
these are kind of like dumpling based as well.
Yeah.
Yep. I've done that before, and I asked my Hungarian friend Erica, and I've got a kind of it's like a sieve, and you basically pour and you slide, you pour over into the water, and you pour the I mean, I would have done. I think I probably would have done it with eggs.
Yeah.
Because I was starting out, but you pour it over the sieve into the pan and the
The
boils,
boiling water.
and then you kind of slice them as they fall as they fall in.
That's exactly how it's. I couldn't have described it better. Yeah.
Well, I got the fear.
Exactly know how
She taught me that, and then I got the fear that it would just become like a big blob that I'd have to end up slicing, like polenta.
But it worked, didn't it? Yeah. Like it looks like it's not gonna work. I'm scared. Oh my god, that looks harrowing. Oof. Well, we'll see how much of this we can use. I think I have totally fucked it up. Now we have some footage of it not working, which is great. It looks like it's not gonna work until you try it, and it does.
So is that the
That was
water
my
from
fear
the
as well.
chickpeas?
Sorry?
Is it the water from
It's
the
actually the flour.
the flour?
So it's with chickpea flour, gram flour, which has some more protein than your regular flour, which is why it's kind of good substituting the egg, which obviously also has a bit of protein. So that gives it a bit of more maybe bounciness and chewiness
Yeah,
instead of the egg.
it's unreal.
That's gorgeous.
And then I fried it up with some more shallots.
I'm so delicious.
Oh, thank you.
So excited for the chance. I saw you on Friday. You've only played together 5 or 6 times. Together. But you've been on stage many times before that with your various projects over the years. Would you give us a little bit of a rundown of like your individual music history and also how you came to be working together?
Take Phil about an hour.
Oh no! I haven't. It's kind of like my life. I haven't really travelled that more than 30 miles from where I was born, to be honest. But in my mind,
That's all that matters.
legend in my lunchtime. No. After you.
Not
You've
that-
travelled. You've travelled the world a lot more than me, and you've been in some of my favourite bands. So.
I had a sort of what eventually became a hair metal band when I was about 17 or so called Torquemada. Started off as a rock and roll band, but somebody let me hear Fuck Like a Beast by Wasp, and then I just went down that road for a wee while. And I did buy leather trousers at some point.
Correct.
Yeah.
What's that?
And from there went into playing in a band called Take a Run for a Walk Week, which sounded like The Locust. I started getting influenced by like Beefheart and Zappa. From there I went into playing with the Twilight Sad as a session bass player, and then eventually joined the band after about 10 years or so. It was brilliant, and then I've left that band now, so I just do OMO, which is, I guess that's where I'm at now. But
You've also worked with and repped and supported and tech for a lot of bands as well.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff on the side, just try to make money.
Yeah. I was going to ask about like what you do that makes money that isn't music.
Yeah. When I was doing all that stuff, I was just working in kitchens basically.
Including briefly the kitchen right here at Sleazy's?
Yeah.
Is that right?
It was the Squid Whale had the kitchen in here. Yeah.
Okay.
But I was the KP for them when it was on Great Western Road, and then eventually was cooking, which was stressful, but it's good. And then I've been a Janny, so doing cleaning all the pubs and all that to get money. Just doing really whatever you can to get a wee bit of money so that you can keep playing music and not have somebody holding you back if you're like, I want to go on tour, and then your boss is like, no.
There can be a lot more autonomy in that sort of cobbling things together, and maybe less security.
Less security,
if you get to do what it is that you actually care about.
Yeah, you get those opportunities for sure.
Did you order me a stripper?
Where's the rest
Honey,
of the
Are
band?
you a stripper?
I told you when we played on Friday, special lap dance.
Wait for the reveal. Wait for the reveal.
And that's pretty much my CV.
You also have history here at Sleazy's. Did you tell me that you were a go-go dancer here?
No.
No, I made that
No.
up. I'm just making up rumors and lies.
It's my favourite venue to play because the poles, the three big poles downstairs, they're a perfect top for kind of, I did a little lap dance on Friday, but in one of the bands I was in before, I used to really, really go for that. And I've described myself as the kind of archetypal Glaswegian frontman that spills your drink and lap dances your boyfriend.
Is that the archetypal one?
Pretty known.
That's
amazing. I mean, we spoke. I mean, I do a music history walking tour, so I mean, it's only a cake slice of what happens in Glasgow. But Glasgow is globally is absolutely renowned. Dropped out of uni, and I blame the quality of the Lebanese blonde hash at the time. Holland from Beirut. And, so I dropped out, but it wasn't really for me anyway, and I became a psychiatric nurse, and I worked in public services for 38 years, and I'm a mental health nurse. I did homelessness work, I did a lot of AIDS work in Scotland. That was kind of more into the 90s when AIDS landed, so it was a lot of funerals. I did drug rehab work, I did harm reduction work, I set up needle exchange services in rural Scotland, I worked in prisons, I worked quite a lot in community justice, and I always had a kind of interest in that as well, because my family, my uncle was murdered when I was 5, so my own family were kind of touched by that in terms of the contact with the justice system. So I always had an interest in psychiatry, and definitely had a little collection of serial killer books, has to be said. Quite a morbid interest in that kind of psychology. And then I started a band called the Stretch Heads. In our first album, I was living in the mental hospital, and the address for correspondence was care of the mental hospital, so people were convinced that we were patients. Whereas actually I was a member of staff. Well, if you think about mental health and stigma, actually it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. So we did that for about 3.5 years, stretch heads, and I always said obscure but cherished. And it's interesting, even like Phil from Cut His Gym, when we were talking, he was like, "Oh, you're that guy from the Stretch Heads," and I was like, "God, I'm 60. What have I done?" because I immediately when people recognise me because it's persona,
Right.
because I'm P6 and
Yeah.
I'm like that guy.
Right.
I'm like, oh shit, what have I done?
What do they remember?
But it was lovely, and he was like, oh, I've been listening to some of your stuff. You guys were great. So we did that. Then I took a break. I was a sister of perpetual indulgence for a few years.
Were
so
you?
yeah, I became a gay nun, and
Hell yeah.
we canonised people, and we held sham marriages.
Yeah.
And you know, the order still goes, but I was the only sister in Glasgow. So I did that for a few years, and I was really active in AIDS work. Worked a lot with Body Positive here in Glasgow, and then I went to see the Jesus Lizard, and David Yao came out on stage with a tray of sandwiches and pelted the audience, and then threw himself into the audience. And Richie, my old drummer, take me along, and I was like, I'm in. I mean, I always loved the band anyway, but like a lot of people in Glasgow, we listen to a lot of electronic music. You know, I still think Boards of Canada are one of the greatest Scottish bands of all time.
Yes.
You know, I love all that stuff, but then I was like, I switched and I was like, oh fuck, there's all this post-hardcore stuff still happening, and I got back into that, and I had a band called DeSalvo, and named after the alleged Boston Strangler, and we were metalcore. But like you, Johnny, I mean, we played with Take a Worm as well. We played a few shows together. But I always felt that it was almost like a revisit of that post-hardcore period, that glory period, that American rock, when everyone was like getting into Britpop. Britpop didn't happen in Scotland. Scotland was into post-rock. You know, Mogwai was starting, and people were into, you know, lots of, you know, American music that was coming over, and you know. I always, you know, I loved a lot of stuff on Cranky Records, and you know, I was still in touch with Paul Smith from the Last First Days when I was in Stretch Heads, and he was bringing La Bradford over, and you know, there was all of this great, really quite spooky music happening at the time. And DeSalvo, we must have done about 10 years. We only did one record, but we played a lot. We did quite a lot of shows. And then Johnny was like, I got an idea of a project, and you want to, and I was like, I do cameos. Yeah. And we did like a wee song. Yeah. And then he was like, that was alright. do you want to hang around? I was like, well, I don't really have anything else doing.
Might as well.
No, I was delighted. I was really delighted. And I would have been happy, to be fair, I would have been happy just doing like a wee sketch. But it kind of started to grow, and when Dom and Martin, you know, when you were involved, you can say about how that connected. They both come with a huge pedigree as well. I mean, Dom obviously, you know, best known for being in Mogwai, but Martin as well. I mean, we used to play with Areogram, and he's just one of the fucking big heaviest hitters ever to come out of Scotland. He's such a great drummer, and he's a good friend, and he's a cracking guy. So
he's a beast on the drums.
Oh,
yeah,
he's fantastic.
are going to be in, is it Copenhagen in April? Is that?
Yeah.
What? Tell me about that.
That's been exciting. We're really amped about the idea. The bill looks great. We're going to treat it basically as a band holiday. We've got that, and then the weekend after we've got Desert Fest in London. It's our first invasion. Our first incursion into Europe. I mean, although we did that in Art Tangent, I think I closed the set with "Consider yourselves invaded."
That's great.
Scottish Rampage. But big shout out to Core, because locally they've been astonishing. They've been so supportive.
Yeah, Dan at Core's opened most of the doors for us, to be honest. He's any wee questions that I've had about trying to get shows, I always go to him, and
Dan and Weaver are both local champions.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. What they're doing is brilliant as well. It really is.
I think the fact that they share the love a lot, and they're bringing in and giving, there's so many great local bands. I mean, we could just we're among an abundance of riches in Glasgow. We're giving like Mrs. Frighthouse a wee hand up, who are amazing. We were talking about Gout as well. Similar Elegies. There's just loads of many loads of little bands
Cutty's
happening
Gym.
locally. Cutty's Gym are
Cutty's
great as
Gym,
well.
yeah.
Those guys were great on Friday.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
We
yeah.
can't wait to.
Like,
We're gonna
really slamming.
sit
Yeah,
down with them.
so
we can't wait
electric.
for that. Yeah.
Aye.
They're brilliant.
Yeah, they are.
You know, but then at the electronic end, you got like weird jazzy stuff like Comfort, who are probably my favourite Glasgow band.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yes.
God! Yes, let's talk about
Comfort.
comfort.
Yeah. Sean and Natalie are. I
Yes.
mean, and I honestly think Sean's one of the best drummers in town.
Really.
So I mean, he never uses a click track. You know, Natalie does a lot of the synth stuff.
Yeah.
And pushes a button, and then she does her thing. And Sean's just so free, quite jazzy. It's a really stripped down kit.
Yes.
I could watch him all night. Amazing drummer.
Oh
There's a
my
band that
God.
are signed. You know, they're on Fat Cat. They're signed, but they're all still doing day jobs, and that's what's different. I think now. I said it genuinely on Friday from stage. You know, there are easily 15 bands in that room, but everyone's probably doing at least 3 jobs just now because the cost of living's horrendous. If
Yeah.
you want to live in Glasgow, particularly, as well as work here, it's horrendous. Whereas, you know, when I was coming up, you could kind of get by, and I always had a day job, and I had no ambitions of doing it professionally, and I still don't particularly. But I think it's really tough now, and the fact that these bands are bubbling up in Glasgow, and at a time when they're so needed, is great. It's every night, and there's great nights happening. There's great nights happening at old hairdressers. You know, there's improv stuff, there's jazz stuff, there's trad sessions. There's a mad night called Baked Beans on the Doorstep that happens at old hairdressers. I recommend.
That sounds amazing.
Incredible nights,
My
you
calendar.
know, just really
Yeah.
great. Our collaborator, Fritz Welsh, and his comrade David Morey, they've been running that for a few years, and it's like performance art and improv, and just it's completely unpredictable, you know. So the fact that there are these little boat holes, and there's a couple of 100 gigs happening in Glasgow every week.
just like improv.
Aye.
23-minute sets.
23-minute rituals.
23-minute like improvised sets.
Yeah, I remember we played in the CCA and I had a robe on. My girlfriend was playing the violin through a bunch of like pedals and stuff, but I just did my head down, was like making a racket for the whole set, and I looked
We
up.
projected Ave Satanas behind us as well, like in a Church of Satan film.
Yeah, I looked up and at the end of the set, and Phil had like started the set fully clothed, but by the end of it, you were standing on a plinth with leather like cross harness and leather pants, but just rubbing coal all over you. It's like, what has happened? Brilliant, absolutely amazing.
Oh, we had such a laugh with that. And I think, did
good.
Joe not leave the building that night? He got so spooked. Yeah, Joe Quimby actually got the fear because he thought we'd like summoned something up.
Oh, and I'm sure you did.
Okay.
It sounds like you did.
You know, the coal, we used in a couple of performances, the coal was actually commemorating the miners' strike.
Right.
And it was thinking
Had
about
meaning.
moving it. It did have meaning.
Yeah.
Well, in my mind.
Yeah, it's so good.
So we'd kind of do that, but to get together again and do heavy music, I mean, the word we use a lot of the time when we're in the studio is disgusting.
Yeah.
That sounds disgusting.
Try to create the most disgusting music that we possibly can conjure up.
It definitely has
Yeah.
that face melting
Yeah.
vibe to it.
Yeah,
That's
of
good.
like,
Oh my god, like I
Yeah.
felt like I'm in a blender at some
Yeah.
point, especially like standing so close to it. That was the
Uh-huh.
thing, filming
You
it,
feel
I was
like you were
next
in
to
a
the
blender.
speaker. I felt the vibrations like in my hips and down my spine. And I
Nice.
was ascending essentially and
Amazing.
trying to work the
Oh.
camera in the same
That's
time.
beautiful.
It was
Thank you.
It was a very spiritual experience for sure.
Amazing.
Like I felt it was incredible. It was
That's
absolutely
good.
incredible.
I absolutely, like, I also had
Yeah.
like a spiritual experience. I think I even said to you afterwards, I was like, I can't talk to you right
No,
now.
I can't process this.
I was like, I
It was
can't
a lot,
process this.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what just happened because we had such a lovely chat, and I was like, oh, this is great. And
And then I get on stage, and you're
And
like,
then that happened.
then that happened. Yeah, and then you got on stage, and it was just so immediate. I mean, for the fact that you guys have only played together 5 or 6 times, that it's been a few months. Like the level of skill and professionalism and the years on stage that like boom, as soon as that first note hit, I was in it. And then at some point I couldn't even keep my eyes open anymore. I was just like too much sensation.
and I spotted it, and I found you,
I've heard about this.
and I told you the last person that I did that to. So I could see you from the stage, and I was just like, not tonight. And then you opened your eyes and you were like that. And I told you afterwards the last person I did that to that I remember was when we were. I'm not sure if you were part of it. It was definitely me and Martin, but it was Simon. It was Simon and Biffy
Oh, okay.
when we played in stereo. And he was like, because it was quite drony. He was kind of zoning out, and then he just opened his eyes, and I was like, hi. And he shat the bed.
Appropriate reaction, by the way.
Okay, I mean
Yeah.
that thing. I mean, I used to do it in the chef's head and stuff. Like I used to do that in the stretch heads, and we were saying earlier on. It's just like, I mean, who wants to watch 4 guys with beards nodding? I mean, and like let's try and do something with it. And I feel like it's pure overcompensation. And you said somebody on Friday had was it an Apple Watch thing?
Yeah, it said that we were like a similar volume to My Bloody Valentine at the Hydro. And I was like, so that's a 15,000 cap venue to a 180 cap. It's quite extreme.
Like in the blender, yeah. Like I can attest to that. Yeah,
I mean, it's-
definitely.
When you said that, I mean, immediately I went straight to Hannibal Lecter.
No, just how intense it felt. Like I felt it through my body.
Yeah.
like,
Good,
it
because I
was
think
very-
it's a physical.
It is a physical,
thing.
visceral.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
experience.
part of like that's my love of industrial noise. I mean, I saw Throbbing Gristle a few times,
Absolutely.
thankfully. You know, somebody like Brian Lustmore. I've literally been pinned to the back of a seat in Poland when I went to see him, one of the first gigs that he ever played, because he very rarely played live. And it literally felt like a finger had come out from the stage and was like prodding me in the guts. I love that whole edge of kind of frequencies and fucking with frequencies a wee bit.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's like seeing Summit ABC2. It like felt like somebody was like pushing on your throat with the frequency coming off the stage. It was very like unsettling, but it's quite nice.
Comforting.
It's
costume and just little visuals that say, well, actually, this is something slightly different. And I think that's why, I know, and we've met a lot of great, queer comrades through this. People that share an interest in trans rights. People that are generally, more left-leaning. I wouldn't say that we're not a political band in any way, But I think sometimes when you just disrupt a little bit, that's a political act.
Yeah.
It felt the experience. Blah, blah, blah.
You're still processing.
I am a little bit. Yeah. I was processing it because when I go to a gig, I will go to anything, and I especially love blind gigs where I don't know what's happening. And that wasn't really this was a little bit the case because you guys have, I think, maybe 3 songs on Bandcamp right now, so there was only so much we could listen to beforehand. And so I really didn't know what to expect, but I love that because then I can just kind of go in as a blank slate and let the music kind of come through my body and see what that brings up and what other experiences can I match that to, right? What can I call that? This is sort of my hobby. And I couldn't get to it after I knew there was something. I was like, what was that? What was it? And finally, that feeling in my body, that's liberation. That's what I feel. And so I was just curious if that came into it from your end or if I brought that into the room myself.
I think when you go into that ritual space,
yeah.
It is like a ritual.
Everything's
a ritual.
It comes across on the footage, which I can't wait for you guys
Everything's
to see.
a ritual.
Yeah.
Everything's political. Everything's a ritual.
Yeah.
I mean, I think ritual. I mean, my favorite band ever are Coil, and Jeff Rushton, or John Balance, as he called himself, famously quoted and said, "A riot can only last for so long before it becomes choreography."
Yeah.
So it's always been a really beautiful quote, and I think there is something quite. I mean, it's that edge of preparation and being on point, and then also allowing something odd to happen. I mean, Throbbing Gristle do it. They call it the third mind. Where you're kind of you're collaborating, but something else is kind of coming in and influencing what's happening. And I think the best musical and theatre projects kind of do that. And I think that if that gives people permission, because we're so kind of constrained, and the tech and the fash and everything is kind of very constraining at the moment. But if we can just give people a little oasis of kind of a bit of levity, and also just don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't like people to think that's how I go to the shops in the morning. Dressed as a fucking, dressed as a big gay judge.
Well, it is outside. My experience was okay, I'm outside of the norm right now. I'm in kind of a different place. This ritual has taken me to somewhere else, in my mind and in my body. And I was sober, really.
Maybe it was a clunky metaphor, but I was playing with judgment.
Right.
So it's very simple. I was just like, who the fuck are you to judge? Anybody's life, or what they do with their body, or what they put in their body.
Yeah.
So
right.
Simply that's what we were playing with.
So great.
Which feels kind of, feels like an important discussion for people to have just now.
And now, a word from our sponsor. Surprise! It's me. I funded this episode myself by exploiting natural resources that I privately own. And if you'd like to discuss that choice with me, I'd be more than happy to do so, starting at $9.99 per minute. Here's the link you're looking for. Now, eyes up here.
Weaponized sex
gone on record saying this is my favourite small venue in the city. I've always loved it. I used to love dancing around poles when I was in DeSalvo. I've broken that rig before with my electronic band Security, and Stevie Corser, who was doing the sound at the time, just fucking laughed. Like half the rig went down, and Joe that I collaborate with as well, because it's very deep electronics, and Joe was just like, "What's your bass spins, mate?" And then he was like, "Told you." And this heading for 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
91. It's been here since 91.
Just,
I think. Yeah.
Such a great institution. As we were joking, Scarlett Johansson had her dinner up there in the corner. I bring guests in here, mostly older guests, I would say, that this isn't really their scene, and they're always just like, this place is amazing, and then I give them a bit of the history and who's played here, and the whole thing with the Vaselines and Nirvana and all of those kind of like little connections, but just also that this is a space. I mean, even when we played on Friday, and then there was a gig happening upstairs, and then there was a club after. It's kind of like, and I was going to say, actually, I think although you can't squat in Scotland legally, I think the Dutch squat scene, as well as the kind of Hunt Sabs and a lot of the kind of crusty punks, that scene really inspired people, and some of the squat scene down in England as well, because when we were doing gigs in Amsterdam, we played in Frankrijk, which is like a 3-story building with a creche and a library. That's a squat in Holland.
Yeah, wow.
They really have their shit together. And I think that inspired a lot of little spaces like this as well, not just the ethics, but also that idea of kind of multi-purpose, and everyone's, looked after, and everyone should feel included, and no BAMs, and, trying to keep people kind of having that almost kind of religious experience together, because it's a cliche, but this is, for some people, this is as spiritual as it gets.
I mean, I feel like I'm one of those people. Like I just get to experience something, and Friday was no exception. That I don't really think I get to experience anywhere else. Just at gigs.
Well, the forces at play have been trying to separate sexuality, sensuality, and spirituality for centuries.
Yeah.
And it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I know.
It makes sense to me, but I'm just an old fruit in a fucked up system trying my best.
Yay! Eat your bread. It's so great to have an MC in the house, our own private cabaret. That was, I do want to say this so that it does get on camera. I can't remember if I said it earlier, but that's what I thought. In the middle of the set, I was like, oh, I'm in cabaret right now. Like, there's the MC, but like not the musical theater or the revival or the actual cabaret right now. And you guys have been described as like a doom cabaret. Is that a label you're embracing? Does that feel right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think I'm still working out in my brain what doom means, because I think it is quite complex.
Okay.
But that sense of cabaret, it's everyone's kind of leveled on the level.
Yep.
The MC, as you say, the MC's job is to not just to entertain, but to help people feel free.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. Thank you. I'll take that. And it was kind of art as a political act, and it didn't take itself that seriously.
It doesn't take itself that seriously, and yet it's still somehow like an act of survival, right? Of survival of something inside you that like can't be crushed or taken down.
There's a great book on German Wehrmacht soldiers at the time doing drag shows on the front line.
Wow.
Like you can repress and repress and repress and repress, and then just the human nature for display and for parody and for brevity and for spirituality kind of leaks out.
It's gonna come out no matter how.
And that's that's inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so.
Thank you.
So much.
So much.
Yeah, you liked
It was
it?
unreal.
Oh, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, I
Thank
can
you.
tell you hated it.
Thank you so much. It makes me so happy.
Yay! Awesome.
You've made us
So
happy,
glad.
thank you.
Yeah.
So glad we got to feed you. It's very exciting.
Thanks for feeding me. Jesus.
No, absolutely.
We're
and
not
I
going to get that
love-
offer every day, are we? It's like, we'll film a gig and then we'll feed you, and then we'll listen to you patter. But I mean,
And we're
I
over
think
here like hee hee hee. Our dream life.
But it's a lovely project. It's a really great, and I think
Thank you so much.
we need to also archive. You know, I think that's
Yes.
That's
there's-
exactly it.
There's a lot of wonderful archaeology going on just now, and I think you're contributing to that.
Oh,
So that's what's
big
really welcome
Yeah.
about it.
We-
'Cause people forget very quickly.
Yeah.
And there's just so much to archive here as well, and so we
Yeah.
would just love to
it's
do
super
exactly that and feed the people and nourish them the way you nourish us with music and art and all that. So
Lovely.
With your riffs.
with your face melting
Nourishing.
Your
with-
disgusting, nasty riffs.
Yeah. It's done.
We did
It's
it.
done.
It's done. We fed OMO.
We did, and they loved it so much. They said amazing things about it. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that Phil knew how to make gnocchi. What an out-of-body experience for me as a Hungarian.
Did you have fun?
I had a blast.
You know what sounds like fun to me? Copenhagen?
May 7th?
OMO gig?
Hell yeah.
Also, if you have any suggestions of what OMO should eat while they're in Copenhagen or where they should eat, please send them to us.
Also, if you like this stuff, it would help us out so much if you would like, share, subscribe, interact with it in any way, tell your friends about it. Yeah, we'd love to make more of this.
Yeah, we want to make more.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining us. This has been a blast. Thank you for OMO for coming down here and chowing down with us. We'll see you again and we'll catch you in the merch line.
Intense communication coming in from Russia. Exhibit 4. Brace silence for Exhibit 4. Homophobic neighbor discharged through the powers of magic.